Same. Requiem for a dream. Drugs. I already look like a junkie, so this will probably work very well. Hello, Danny, I love you. Anyway, today's movie is by Darren Aronofsky. I think I'm saying that right. It's from 2000. It's called Requiem for a Dream. You may have heard of it. Some of the people in it include Ellen Burstyn, Jared Leto, Marlon Wayans, and Jennifer Connelly. And it details the plights of these four characters, and they all have various connections to addiction. And pretty early on we see that Leto and Wayans will do pretty much anything to get their hands on some drugs in order to do and sell them. And we're pretty much immediately supposed to start feeling for these characters, which I don't. So I guess you can already kind of see which side I fall on with this movie. Yes, okay, alright, stop, alright. I'll say that, okay, it's a well-made movie, it's well put together. I think he definitely accomplished getting the sort of vision that he wanted out there, and the aesthetic is all there, you know, it's all collected in a certain way. It gets the message out there that I think he wanted to get. We get to see some cool Coney Island imagery, which is now, of course, gone. And, you know, the character I actually really feel for out of all of them in this movie is the mother, because she's the most sympathetic, and you can kind of see how, like, she's a good person, and it slowly spirals into, you know, just being obsessed with this TV show, and that's connected to these diet pills that she gets connected to, which starts making her increasingly loopy. And I think there's a more realistic story there, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think we could identify more with a character like that who kind of really, you know, doesn't seem to have a evil bone in her body and really wasn't setting out to be a drug addict or anything. Not that anyone is, but, you know, I think that's more often than not people who get addicted to drugs, it starts with something like that, or just as easily as like painkillers or something like that, and then before you know it, you're completely dependent on it. And that's definitely a sad story, and that's what cuts through the most for me. And then, of course, there's the music, which I think everyone loves, and I can't really, you know, complain about. The music is totally epic and effective, but my only thing is, here's where it starts to veer off for me. There's literally, for the hour and 40 minutes that this movie is on, the music just won't stop for 2 fucking seconds, and it just seems to say at every turn, and the scene that worked the most for me was the one where Leto and his mother are just quietly sitting at a table, and it's a 5-minute scene, and it's slow moving, and there's nice pauses going on, and there's real human emotion in there, and there's no music. It's just sad, it's just a nice scene, and it's the most effective for me. You know, you're really supposed to like these characters and care about what happens to them, but I just so don't, because they're just so annoying, and they just have no likable qualities whatsoever. And I understand that we're seeing them at, you know, the turbulence of the, you know, the last few months until things really go sour, but there doesn't even appear to be a backstory that sort of suggests that they might have once been good people, other than like a photo of Leto graduating college or something like that. One thing people talk about with this movie is that, hey, Leto, you know, people like this, drug addicts, they have nowhere to go, and they have nowhere to turn to, and no one to talk to and help them. And largely in real life that's true, but let's just look at the picture here. He's got a girlfriend. He's got a best friend, and above all else, he's got a devoted mother who will do anything for him. So, was he always an asshole, or did he just turn into an asshole? There's also just random things in there that seem to have no relevance to furthering the plot in any way, like those kind of fake-out daydream things, like, they steal the cop's gun and start playing with it. where Jennifer Connelly stabs the guy in the hand. And then that's just it. And then, I don't know, is that like, okay, maybe the thing of her stabbing him in the hand is sort of suggesting like, hey, she doesn't really want to do this, but she's forcing herself to. Well then what is stealing the gun proving? For me, the character who kind of steals the film and is the highlight for me is Christopher McDonald's character of the juice-selling man on TV. He's kind of the villain of the movie, and he always plays an asshole piece of shit. He's just the guy that when you look at him, you want to hate him. If you look up his name, you'll recognize him. He's the villain from, for example, Happy Gilmore, I think? I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. That guy. But even he's not really in it enough, and then his big scene where the TV actually comes into the living room and, you know, she's freaking out and the refrigerator's coming to life. Even that's just like, okay, it's like darkly humorous in a way, but okay, so what? The things that happen to the characters just get more and more over the top and it just kind of becomes comical. I even have some nitpicky problems, like they have this sort of effect where it very rapidly cuts and you see the effects of like, they just put the heroin in their blood and their pupils dilate. But hey man, I've never done heroin, but I'll tell you this, your pupils don't dilate when you do heroin. They shrink. Like, I literally read a line of a review on Rotten Tomatoes the other day that said, hey dude, have you left your house? Have you ever seen Solo 120 Days of Sodom? Have you ever seen Cannibal Holocaust? The list fucking goes on. I don't need to name them. I'm sure most of you know more disturbing movies. I didn't want to watch this again, and it made me really uncomfortable, and not for the usual reasons. It's because I felt it so annoying to watch and a chore and just disingenuous. But instead of just being a negative Nancy here all day, and instead of just completely bashing this movie for the whole time, I would like to recommend some other movies, specifically about mostly heroin use, that I think got it down better than this one did. For example, Candy from 2006, Heath Ledger, not to be confused with the fucking obnoxious late 60s Candy. Drugstore Cowboy, More, also from the late 60s, soundtrack by Pink Floyd. Panic in Needle Park, I mean, there's plenty, man, there's plenty. Even, I wasn't even too hot on Train Spotting, and that one's also hyper stylized, but even that one was just more darkly humorous and entertaining than this one was. Fucking watch Requiem for a Heavyweight over this one, even though it has absolutely nothing to do with heroin addiction. Now you can go ahead and, you know, hate on me and everything, but I would actually like to hear your opinion because this movie has quite a lot of fans, and passionate fans at that one. So instead of just being like, oh, you didn't get it, or like, nah man, it's fucked up, or like this and that, I want to actually start a conversation about this movie and hear your thoughts and why you liked it, why you felt indifferent, or what you didn't like about it, whatever. Just love each other. If there's somebody you know who has some sort of addiction or whatever, don't push them away. Try to give them some help. Try to give them some smiles and hugs. Come over here, Daddy. I love you even though you're addicted to watching cooking shows on Food Network. Anyway, I guess that's it, man. Don't do heroin! Alright, well, stay sober.